guy saw him with his coworker at 2 a.m. as I came home from a trip early to surprise him. He has no idea. After breakfast Friday morning, we left straight for his place. It was about 7:45 a.m. we arrived. He was still home at this point, and it was expected. We waited a while longer, and eventually maybe about 45 minutes later, we see him open the door, step out with his coffee, then looks down the street both ways, and then just stands there looking at his phone. We thought he was leaving. Wrong! OMG, guess who was there? Her. Yes, her. If I didn't have anyone to get me through the last few days, I would have been fuming red. But nah, it's almost like I expected it. She had walked up from behind him and hugged him, but he took her arms off him, looked around, and he quickly led her back inside. I looked at both my dad and brother. My brother just hollers as my dad shakes his head. Guys, I hope you're not going to be upset that we didn't exactly ghost him. Well, I have, technically. After they walked in, I felt a ping in my chest, and it wasn't just anger anymore, it was finality. It felt as if the last thread of whatever we had snapped inside. I looked away or must have looked sick. I wasn't sure if I wanted to run in there or just tell my brother to drive and leave all my things. I didn't even realize my dad opened the door from the back seat until he shut it behind him. He didn't say a word to us. He just started slowly walking towards the door. He's a police sergeant, so I knew he'd be fine. OMG, I remember this moment as if it happens again each time I think about it. My dad knocked twice. Nothing, both times. Finally, the door cracked, opened just enough for me to see his face from afar. His entire expression changed the second he realized who was at the door. His smug, relaxed look vanished, and his face from where we could see two lit up cherry red. We're laughing at this point. He didn't close the door, just shifted his body in the frame like some pathetic human shield, as if he tried to hide what we just witnessed. I knew he was scrambling to figure out his next move. At this point, I'm not sure what my dad told him, but my dad must have told him to move because he stepped aside to let my dad in. I got worried for a second, because I couldn't see him anymore. But not even seconds later, she comes out. Embarrassed as hell, and she walks to apparently her car parked a little down the street. Ugh, disgusting. We waited to see what happens as the door is still open. As she drives away, my brother gets a text from Dad. He says, "Only my brother come help." We all agreed to just grab my clothes, my art, my records, my pictures, my keepsake jewelry, all of which I told them where everything was. And as time went by, I just kept texting with my brother. OMG, guys, my brother had texted me saying, he looks like he's gonna shit his pants. Kept my spirits up after what I had just witnessed, yet again. I didn't mind at all not going in. I'm happy it happened this way. It may not have happened the way everyone hoped, but I sure as hell know he was embarrassed as fuck and left wondering. He can keep that hat. My dad is a godsend. I told my family about the post, and my dad offered to write his perspective since he was face to face with my ex. He's just the best. My family is just the best. I can't even begin to express how much you guys helped me, gave advice, and just shared some of your experiences as well. God cheaters fucking suck. He can rot inside as he wonders, and I'm free now. We left without looking back literally, and I think this is the final update. Thanks so much, guys. From my dad. I approached my daughter's ex's residence and immediately heard a woman laughing inside. I knocked once. The laughter stopped. I knocked again, and I could hear muffled voices and movement inside. When he opened the door, his expression immediately changed. He recognized me and looked caught off guard. I told him, "Ex, don't try to hide anything. It didn't have to be like this. All we want is O's belongings." He hesitated, but let me inside. As I stepped in, I continued. "You owe her at least that much. The decency to collect her things after what you've done." I saw a young woman inside and told her she should leave. She gathered her things and exited without protest. Meanwhile, X kept asking how much my daughter knew, attempting to justify his actions. I ignored his attempts at explanation and texted my son to come help move O's belongings. X continued pressing, insisting he had made a mistake and wanting to know exactly what O was aware of. He was visibly anxious. X ran a hand through his hair, eyes darting between me and the door. "I never meant to hurt her," he muttered. "It just happened." I shook my head at him and stated, "No, X, you made a choice." He swallowed hard. "What does she know?" I held his gaze. "Enough.